Hey. Good afternoon. I hope everybody is well. I'm getting ready. Mm-mm-mm. I'm getting letters about my student loan payments. I wish they would forgive these because this is annoying. Like, I'm over it. I'm over having to deal with student loan payments. Hey, y'all. Hello. So, oh my gosh, the internet has gone absolutely fucking bananas over Gypsy's baby Aurora. And I would just like to say that I think the biggest lie on the internet so far about this baby is the fact that her name, Aurora, was because it was going to be the same name as Gypsy and Nicholas's baby. Hello. I do not believe that that is an accurate account of what was going. Hold on. Do you happen to know how to get rid of? Yes. So you can actually use a waterless shampoo on your rabbit. So somebody asked me how to get rid of the smell on a rabbit, and because I groom dogs, I know these things. So you can actually use a waterless shampoo, and let me pull up the one that I recommend so that I can show you what it looks like. It's really good because it's like the best way to describe it is like it's a foamy shampoo, kind of like hand foam wash. So all you can put it in your hand and just wipe it on the bunny, or you can actually just like put it on a paper towel and use the paper towel to wipe if you don't want to use your hands. But it's a really nice one. It doesn't have any smell to it. So it's literally like the best thing to use. I use it on my dog. Hey, good evening, Amelia. I use it on my dog whenever we're like in between baths and I need to clean his bottom. Okay, it's called Magic Foam. And this is what it looks like. I can send you the link to your DM. Magic Phone, Chris Christensen Magic Phone. I'm gonna go ahead and share it. I'm gonna send it to your DM. You might have to copy and paste it in a different browser just in case, but so back to what I was saying. I think that the biggest lie. Okay, was that you texting me that? I'm so sorry. Let me I sent it to the wrong person. I sent it to the wrong person. Hold on, Kay. I'm I'm sending it to you now. Sorry. Okay, you've got a bow in your name. My headache is gone. Thank you so much for asking. Yesterday it was really bad. So I woke up with a headache yesterday and it just seemed to really like not go anywhere all day long. It was terrible. It was terrible. And I had to work with the headache, which makes it even worse because then it's like I'm sure you know what it's like working with a headache and not feeling good. Can you send me a DM? I'm having a hard time finding you. Send me a DM and then I'll DM it to you. So back to what I was saying. The biggest lie so far on the internet right now is that the reason why or the name Aurora. I do not believe that Gypsy was ever going to name her daughter Aurora with Nicholas. There is absolutely no proof of that anywhere. There's a lot of people speculating, saying that, that they heard or whatever, but apparently that information came from Natasha Cooper. I reached out to Natasha Cooper, and Natasha Cooper did confirm that it doesn't give you the option to send me a DM. Because if I try to send it to you on another phone, okay, let me try again. Let me try again using your actual name. Oh, okay, here we go. I found you. Oh, it sent it to my spam. I got it. I got it. Look and see if you got my message. You got a follow from Ryan Anderson? Shut the front door. Did you really? That's fucking amazing. I've reached out to him actually, to be honest. I reached out to Ryan months ago. I sent him that's so cool. I sent him a really long, detailed message letting him know that I was so sorry for what he was going through and that I have been in the same situation as him dealing. That is so cool. And that I've been in the same situation as him, and that if he needed to talk to anyone, that I was here to talk to him. And if he needed to ask any questions or anything like that, and that I sent him a message saying that I didn't think that he understood that he was in a relationship with somebody who is narcissistic. And there's a lot of emotional abuse that goes along with being in relationships with people who are narcissistic. And that if he needed some support or to know any information about it, that I would be happy to help. Awesome. That's so cool. I'm so glad. Well, it's good to know that he's okay. So if it is Ryan, you should be able to scroll up to the top and he should have a check mark because he is still verified. Gypsy changed her name and that's the reason why she's not verified anymore. But he is still verified. So his account does have a check mark on it. Yeah. Hey Val. Yeah, if it's the real Ryan Anderson, he's verified. So let me show you what that would look like on his end. If he sent you a text or a message, yeah. So this is his account. and see how that blue check mark is right there, then that's how you know if it's the real Ryan. And then also look at the amount of followers that he has and how many likes he has, because I think when you go into the DMs, you can see the amount of followers the person has. You might not be able to see the likes, but you can always just double verify by just looking at his homepage. And that's what his homepage looks like. So, yeah, take a look and see. Don't get scammed by somebody. He did say that there were people that were like trying that were posing as him trying to scam people and saying that that they were like reaching out to his followers asking for money and stuff like that. So don't get scammed by somebody pretending to be him, because they will, like, the scammers will like ask for money, and we don't want that. Hey Kathleen. So we are going to be reading the book tonight. We are going to be doing that because we skipped a couple of days, and I have good news. Thank you so much, Jess. I have good news. I bought that book of Sherry Frankie. So after we finish this one, we're gonna start reading Sherry Frankie's book, The House of My Mom, or whatever it is. It does not come out until January the 7th, but I pre-ordered the book. So as soon as it comes in, if we're finished reading this book, we'll go ahead and start the other one. If we're not finished with this one, then we'll wait until we finish this one to start reading Sherry Frankie's. But I thought that everyone would also enjoy that book, considering Sherry Frankie is also a narcissist and her daughter suffered real abuse. And I think it will be a great way for us to look at the writing style between Sherry Frankie and Gypsy and kind of compare the two in how it relates to abuse and telling the story of actual, horror and trauma and that sort of thing. I think that it's going to be eye-opening to a lot of trauma survivors to see Sherry's book and to have listened to Gypsy's book knowing that it was like bullshit. You know what I mean? Because her book was, it wasn't an accurate account of any sort of trauma. She didn't give us any information about any sort of trauma that she experienced that she didn't already tell everyone already. Like, there was nothing new in the book. Nothing about how scared she felt. There was just nothing, nothing about what it was like for those 2 weeks supposedly chained to the bed, not being able to get food. Like, what was that like? Describe that to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, give us some actual details so that we can get inside your mind and see what it was that you were going through. No, she didn't do anything like that. So I think it's going to be very, very telling. Exactly. She can't describe it because it didn't happen. I think it's going to be very, very telling to read Sherry's book, because there's going to be a lot of horrible things in that book. Like, we already know, with the way that they found her siblings, we already know that it's going to be bad. And I'm interested to see the details that she goes to, and how she describes her mother, because most children who suffer abuse at the hands of a parent usually don't describe their parent as overbearing or controlling, or what are some of the other words that she used to describe her mom? Um, controlling. She didn't even call her controlling. What did she say about her? What was the fucking word? Overprotective. That's what she said. She said her mom tended to be overprotective. And every single interview, those were the words that she used to describe her mom: overprotective. That to me does not sound like an abuser. That to me sounds like somebody who's being sheltered. Yes. Somebody who isn't able to experience a lot of things. Yes. But abused? No. Because, like, just off the rip, um, how would you describe your mother? Off the rip. Type something in the comments. I would describe my mother. Hey, Renee. I would describe, personally, I would describe my mother as selfish, um, alcoholic, narcissistic. Like, those are the words that come to my mind. Yeah, and that's not abusive. And I would also say abusive. Like, just thinking out loud. When you think about, like, your mom, if she was abusive towards you, how would you describe her? I would say, hey Maria, I would say she was abusive. She was controlling, she was vindictive, she was calculating, she was an alcoholic. Like, those are words that can pretty much take you inside that child, in order to say, I can almost feel what it was that you were going through. I could also describe my mother as envious and jealous and belittling and degrading. Like, those are words that abuse survivors usually use to describe their abuser, not overprotective. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's going to be interesting to see the difference. And it's hard for me to really wrap my mind around a lot of Gypsy's stories, because she she the way that she talks about her mother is that she was jealous of her mom. That's how she talks about her mom. She doesn't talk about her mom in a way that says that she was abusive towards her. She actually talks about her, um in a sexual way, which for me I feel like is gross. um and she talks about her looks. She doesn't really talk about her attitude, her demeanor. She does say at some points, she does mention how her mother was bubbly and friendly and got along with everybody. And she also said that she wasn't mean. So how is she abusive but not mean? Right? Like, most abusers are mean. Like, you go through a period of where you're being love bombed, and then you go through all the other stages, being devalued, um and usually that coincides with some nasty, mean type of behavior. Yeah, exactly. Certainly not overprotective. I do also believe that Gypsy was abusing Dee Dee. And yeah, and because she was so sick, she was no longer an asset to her. Uh, she was a hindrance. She wasn't able Exactly. She wants to humiliate her mother even in death, which for me, it's like you've already unalived her. You've already murdered her. Like, why do you want to continue to throw her name in the mud? Not only did you unalive her, but you basically got off of the crime. Like, you didn't do hardly any time for the crime that you committed. And in my personal opinion, she got away with schmurder, and she should be, thanking her lucky stars that she got what she got, rather than continuing to try to, throw her mom under the bus. She got away with murder. That's the nicest way to put it, but she got away with it. It sucks because she does not deserve to be out here living a free life, and she is. And there's like literally nothing that any of us can do to ensure that she, goes back to prison or whatever. So it's like frustrating because, yeah, she will reoffend because she got away with murder. And that's what other people don't seem to understand, is that when something like that happens and you get away with it, you continue to keep repeating. It's human behavior. If I was going somewhere, and I'm just going to reference like stealing. I know it's not nowhere near what she did, but it's the only thing that I can say online without, getting in trouble. So let's pretend that I go into a store and I decide I want to take something and not pay for it. That very first time I get away with it, I am so excited because I got away with it. So it makes me want to do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again and do it again. And then I get caught. I finally get caught. And you know what? They just slap me on the wrist and they let me go. So you know what happens? I go and I do it again. And then I get caught again. And instead of the slap on the wrist, I maybe get some probation or something like that. Nothing really serious. I know that 8 years of prison was a serious like length of time, but not when you compare it to the crime that was committed. You know what I'm like? There were probably people in prison with her that were in there for DURGS charges who were probably spending longer terms than she did for second degree murder. Like, that's crazy. So she definitely did get away with it. And because she got away with it, she is going to reoffend. You can tell that she's like up here on this really high horse, and she is thinking that nobody can touch her. Nobody, that she is just getting her way with everything. Like, she feels good about herself because, as somebody who is a manipulator, not me, but speaking about her, as somebody who is manipulating people, she keeps getting away with it. She keeps getting away with it. She keeps getting away with it. Therefore, it's feeding her ego and it's making her feel like she's big shit. And eventually something is going to happen and it is going to fall. And when she falls, it is going to be big. Trust me, it is going to be huge. And the sad thing is that it's going to affect her child. But I said this the other day. I think that she's going to try to get pregnant again before May. I think by May she's going to be pregnant. She's going to be announcing another pregnancy because she likes the attention that she gets from that, and she thinks that being pregnant is going to keep people from saying negative things and her being able to be more believable because she's pregnant. I don't know if she is going to have help from an outside source, Renee. It would be really interesting to see what type of support she is going to get. Casey Anthony actually learned from all that shit that she went through. No, she's not out there committing crimes, but she learned, hey, I got away with this. I need to, steer clear of any kind of issues. I don't know Carla Homolka. Who is she? Is she another unaliver? We all know that Casey Anthony unalived her own daughter. Like everyone knows that. And at least she was smart enough to go into hiding after getting away with it. There was other ways that Casey Anthony was getting her narcissism fed. Unfortunately, because Gypsy is so addicted to social media, that's how she feeds her narcissism. She can reach so many people by one post, and every time she makes a post, all of the likes and the comments and all that stuff that comes in, all of that just feeds into her narcissism. And that's why she won't say goodbye to uh TikTok or whatever, because she's getting something out of it. Even though I didn't even see what her last post, like if it was all positive or negative, but even though most of her posts, people do comment negative things, she removes all the negative posts. Yeah, but I do think that she is going to try to get pregnant again. I think she has got this weird, like, breeding fetish. Is that what it's called? Where they just want to have baby after baby after baby after baby. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is so weird. I don't get it. But there's a lot of people that just like the idea of having kids, not really understanding what it takes to be a parent. And I still don't think that it's sunk into her just yet, what it means to actually be a parent. Hi, hey Janie. It's been a while since I've seen you, Janie. So it's gonna be. I've heard some different creators saying, "Oh, I think that this is going to wake her up." Unfortunately, I don't think so. I don't think that having a child is going to wake her up and help her grow up in any way, shape, or form. I think that she is going to eventually. I don't think that Christy is going to be taking care of the baby. I don't think so. Um She's not living with Christy right now. Y'all know that, right? Like her and Ken have a place together. So I don't think that that's true. I don't think Christy is going to be taking care of the baby. I don't think that they're going to allow her to not be a parent. I'm so happy to see you. I can't wait to see your picture. Yeah, she'll definitely be pregnant again by summer. But like I said, there's a lot of people who are saying that they think that this is going to be an eye opener to her, and that hopefully it will help her like grow up or whatever. You can't really trust everything that Ivory Rose Grows Wild says. Um, I don't watch her. She has me blocked because her and Morbid are close or whatever. But I mean, she posts gossip, and unfortunately, it's hard to decipher the truth when it's gossip. Oh, hey, girl. It's good to see you on a different platform. Thanks for hanging out. But I don't think that this is going to help her grow up mentally because of her chromosome disorder. She's mentally stunted for some reason. It doesn't seem like as she ages that she's actually becoming wiser and that she actually learns from her mistakes. I think that she presents well, that she does learn from her mistakes, but I think that it's all a facade because she wants to put out a certain image of herself that she's recovered and that she's redeemed and that she's rehabilitated and that she's a new person and all these different things. I don't think that any of it is true, because if she were growing and learning from her actions and trying to be a better different person, then we wouldn't still continue to see her making messes online. Like it's not real. Whatever she's doing, it's just to put out so that people think that she's growing and changing. It's a manipulation tactic. I don't know if Ken moved back to Texas or not. I was believing that yes, he probably did move back, but I don't know. It's hard to say. Um 7th baby. Oh my God. I could not even imagine. So Renee writes, I worked for labor and delivery and saw that breeders had one lady on government help say to her friend upon delivering her 7th baby, my check just went up. Some people are just nuts. So here's the thing, that she is getting therapy and she is pretending like the therapy is working. The sad thing is that unless there is somebody else that is um monitoring her therapy sessions or anything like that, it's very likely that her going to therapy once a week on telehealth or whatever, she's able to manipulate the therapist. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Tennessee girl. I'm a groomer. I'm in South Carolina, North Carolina. They should get another hobby. Um, but unfortunately, Gypsy really loves the hobby of social media. That's like her hobby. Remember, she was talking to the people on the Vile Files, and they asked her specifically, like, what kind of hobbies are you into? And her exact words were, I've been doing a lot of social media and making videos about this, that, and the other. Like, she thinks that that's a hobby. That's what's so messed up about her. And the fact that she gets paid for like her content just strokes her ego even further. Oh, but the beginning of the video, I said that I think that the biggest lie being told about Aurora is that Gypsy was planning on naming her child with Nicholas that same name. There is absolutely no proof of that other than everyone regurgitating the same information. There's literally no evidence that Gypsy was ever going to name her daughter with Nicholas Aurora. There's no emails, there's no text messages, there's nothing to show that that is true and factual. So I don't believe that. I think somebody saw that that was the name and thought that they could, spin a story and make it sound worse than what it was. And it absolutely worked because everybody jumped on the band. Um, if you can find it, I'd love to see it. I have yet to see it. I've heard a lot of people say it's here, it's here, it's here, and I've looked and I haven't found it. So if you know where it's at, please send it to me. Because I'm not seeing it. Now I do know that in the police records, when the police were talking to Aaliyah Woodmansey, they were talking to her, and in the transcripts, she put in there, thank you so much for liking the live. She put in there that they were talking about having a son and would name the son Nicholas Godejohn Jr., but there was nothing in there about a female daughter. I do remember hearing Leanna go over some paperwork that said that whenever the daughter became a teenager, that she was going to allow him to grape the daughter, but there was no name mentioned in that either. It wasn't text messages between her and Nick. I've gone through all 400 pages, and there was nothing in the text messages that show anything about a daughter's name. And if you want to, we can go over the text messages tonight. I can go through them one by one, but it's not in there. I've looked everywhere, you guys. Like literally, I've looked everywhere. That's why I haven't been on. That's why I've had a headache, because I've literally been searching and searching and searching for that very item in order to validate it, and I have yet been able to validate it. Oh, yeah. Gypsy is definitely lying and manipulating the public. So I wanted to also location. It was written in a letter from Gypsy to Ken, but not from Gypsy to Nick. That letter that Gypsy wrote to Ken not only had Aurora written on it, it had other names written on it as well. But that was not to Nicholas, that was to Ken. So that's why I've been trying to find the information from Gypsy to Nicholas, because all I found so far is from Gypsy to Ken. And there was a lot of other names on there that they had discussed while Gypsy was in prison. And Aurora was one of them. That's the thing, though, is that when we see something, it's easy to confuse that that could have been a letter to Nicholas. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to confuse it when everyone is saying it was a name that Gypsy and Nicholas had picked out. It's easy to confuse it because literally everyone is saying that. Everyone, every content creator that I have heard is saying that Gypsy and Nicholas were going to name their daughter Aurora. Every single one. There, I have not seen one content creator refute that in any way, shape, or form, and nobody has any proof. It's just everybody saying it. Hey, Miss Anonymous. Yes. So if she planned on that's my question, Miss Anonymous. Where did you find that information and where is it? Because I haven't seen anywhere that she was actually going to name her daughter with Nick Aurora. Yes, I remember hearing about when the daughter turned, a teenager, that she was going to allow him to, INCEST, but there's no proof of the name. It wasn't in any interview. I've literally gone back and watched everything. No, I've gone back and watched everything, and I have yet to be able to find it. Thank you, Janie. Yeah, if you can find it to me, let me add my email so you can email it to me. Because if you can find it, I would greatly appreciate it. I've literally searched far and wide for this for the last 3 days. I've been on it and I have not been able to find it. And I know that that's why my head hurts, because I've literally been like on it. I've watched everything. I've gone back and I've searched through everything. It's not in the text messages. We can go through the text messages tonight. It's not in there. Nowhere in the text messages. If you can find it, if it was somebody in Nick's camp, it would probably be easier to find since he doesn't have so much media out there. It would be probably easier to find if it was him who said it, because Gypsy's got interview after interview after interview after interview after documentary after I mean, there's just so much that she's done to decipher every single one of them. It's been a lot. But if it wasn't something that she said, and if it was something that he said, he's done minimal. So if it was something that he said, it would be much easier to find because there's not that many interviews that he's done. So that would make it a lot easier to, look for. Right. Yes, I know that, Amelia. I saw that Gypsy wrote to Ken. I'm talking about Gypsy writing and talking to Nicholas about Aurora. Mary, she's making gains off of fraudulent trauma. It's fraudulent trauma. She hasn't experienced any actual trauma. As soon as I get off live, Janie, I'll take a look. Yeah. Right. I haven't seen it from Nick either. Kimber, here. Kimber. I haven't seen it from Nicholas either. And that's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. Kimber got his hair cut. Can you see him? He looks good. See him? I dyed his hair. It looks red, but it's like orange on his brown hair. I'm excited to see it though, Janie. Nina doesn't respond to me. She's her, she's with that whole morbid crew and they've bullied me. So I'm not going to ask her. And she's become not a trustworthy source lately. It seems like she's just trying to stir the pot. No, it's pet safe hair dye when I dye his hair. It's all non-toxic. That's what I'm saying. I believe it was a rumor that spread. I don't think that it's actually true. Hey, Cambria. I think I'm in that NPG Facebook group. Let me jump in it really quick and see if I can search the name Aurora within the group and see if anything comes up with that. Like if I'm able to find it by just searching. They kicked me out of the group. No, they didn't. I was about to say, like, I've never done anything. There's nothing in the group. We are talking about Gypsy and Nick naming their child Aurora. I've been searching for information to fact check that, and I have not been able to fact check that yet. So if anyone knows, that would be, if anybody knows where that is, that would be absolutely fantastic if you could, you know, point me in the right direction. Because it's not anywhere it's not anything that we've seen from Gypsy. Right. We've all heard it. Everyone has heard it. Hey, Mandolin, everyone has heard it, but it's like, where did the rumor actually start? And is there any evidence? I don't know if it predates the pregnancy or not. I can't remember when the first time I heard it was. It's possible that that I heard right around the time when Nina posted that she knew what the baby's name was going to be, which was probably because that all happened whenever they did the big gender reveal. So that's pretty much like August. So we've been hearing it since August. I don't think I heard it before that. Because remember the gender reveal, there was like a whole big thing where Nina posted that she had, information, like she had information back in June that she knew it was going to be, or July, that she knew it was going to be a girl. And then the very next month, like right before the gender reveal, that she posted that she knew the baby name. And then that's when I started hearing rumors about, oh, that's what they were going to name the baby with Nick, blah, 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 blah. If you can find where, that would be great. Yes, the whole panini press. You know what I'm talking about. So I feel like in the beginning when Nina was giving us information, it seemed really credible. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the information, I'm not saying that it's not credible information. To me, it just feels like there's there's more push on creating drama off of rumors rather than trying to debunk things that are being said. I watched her interrogation and Nick's interrogation. I want to say back over the summertime. That's the sad part about Gypsy is she has no actual friends. She thinks that Bree is a friend to her, but Bree is not a friend. Bree is um the easiest way to say it is she's a simp. She's being manipulated by Gypsy, and because she's being manipulated by Gypsy, she thinks that they are friends, but they're not. Gypsy does not know how to be a friend because she can't stop manipulating people and she can't stop using people for personal gain. Oh, you were talking about Nina. I don't know about that. I don't know. Gypsy just I don't think that she at this point has the ability to help herself but to lie. Oh, I'm sure she's had McDonald's. I'm sure. And the way she says that her mom was like a vegetarian or whatever, like, is that really true? Did her mom not eat meat? She was a pretty heavy woman and she had diabetes. I'm sure high blood cholesterol and all that other stuff. Like, how was it that she didn't eat meat? Like, is that true or is she just saying shit? It's so hard to know with her because I don't, like I said, I don't think that that she even knows when she's lying. It just comes out so naturally for her to lie. Right. Like, how is it that all you're eating is peas and biscuits and you're that heavy? I call bullshit. I'm sorry. I barely eat any food and I'm like 140 pounds. So make it make sense. I don't want to like get on a weight thing because it's like I understand that every woman's body is different, right? I get that. It's not about the weight. It's about the the way that she was saying her mom didn't eat any food basically, that she would eat biscuits for breakfast, like a whole can of biscuits, 8 biscuits. 8 biscuits. She would eat all 8 because that's how many that come in that like Pillsbury thing. There's like 8 of them in there, and that's what she would eat for breakfast, all 8 of them. That's that's one thing that I've noticed as well, is that a lot of the drama is now surrounding things that have absolutely nothing to do with the case. Us talking about her hair color, us talking about the baby daddy, us talking about, did she give birth on the 28th, or did she have, did she give birth a month before or whatever. None of those things are helpful for Nicholas or Dee Dee. Like, none of them. And that's what's frustrating for me, because it's like, I think that we should be trying to figure out the lies rather than talking about this petty shit like her hair color. Okay, drive safe. Yes, and I am the first one to admit that I love Pepsi. Like, that's my vice. But I've gotten to the point where I only have one of these small ones a day, because I was drinking a lot of Pepsi, and you can tell when somebody drinks a lot of Pepsi or a lot of soda in general, because it makes them very gut, like bloated looking. And yeah, I didn't want to look bloated all the time, so I kind of had to reduce my intake. Hey Beatnik, thank you for liking the live. I had to reduce my, you know, intake of soda. But there, oh my gosh, Renee, thank you. Thank you. Um but if you think about it, if all her mom ate were biscuits, peas, and what else? I then how was it that she was so heavy if that's all she was eating? I haven't really had a cherry Pepsi in a very, very long time. I like regular Pepsi the best. Oh, good for you. Sit passenger. So she was eating rice and milk. Those are not very fatty foods. I mean, those are pretty healthy, eaten in moderation, everything in moderation. What causes chronic inflammation and gout? Like, she wasn't an alcohol drinker, she wasn't a drug user. So, what was causing all of her health issues? I usually have, hey, Dreamweaver, I usually have like one Red Bull in the morning and then one Pepsi later on in the afternoon. Excess iron acid. I remember this guy that I worked with had gout, but he was a really heavy drinker. Like, he drank a lot of beer. And I think that that was the reason why he had gout. Right. And wouldn't gumbo have had meat in it? I just don't believe anything that Gypsy says about her mom. I think that, in my personal opinion, I think that Gypsy was the vegetarian. You remember what she said about the whole steak thing? I think that that was probably the first time she ever had steak, because she didn't like chewing the meat. Meat is like, especially steak, it's a lot to chew. It's usually it can be shrimp and sausage, sausage, chicken. It's not usually like steak or anything like that. It's usually chicken and sausage or shrimp and sausage in the gumbo. It's gumbo is so good. It is so good. That's what I'm saying. Gypsy only eats sugary foods all the time. Like that's literally all she eats. And it's no wonder that she doesn't have any teeth because all she eats are sweets. Like, how do you expect to have good oral hygiene when you eat nothing but sugar? Remember when somebody asked what her cravings were, and she literally said icing. Icing. That was what she was craving. She said, "Oh, the normal stuff, sweet stuff." She didn't say anything about like pickles or ice cream. Like she was talking about eating like icing out of the can or whatever, out of the jar. Oh, so you make gumbo with shrimp and crab. I bet that's good. I think she liked her royal mashed potatoes because her mom probably put sugar in them. I my first ex-husband, he liked everything with a little bit of sugar. Everything. If you gave him rice, he'd put sugar in it. Peas, sugar in it. Corn, sugar in it. Mashed potatoes, putting sugar in it. I mean, that man ate everything with a little bit of sugar. I didn't watch the fridge tour. And the thing about that too, Halo, is that she claimed that she was malnourished and underweight. But if you really think about it, she's 4'11" and she weighed what, 95, 98 pounds when she was arrested. That's a pretty healthy weight for somebody who's 4'11", especially at that age. I'm 5'2", and at 24, I weighed probably 105, 110 at the most. So next time you make gumbo, do shrimp and crab instead of shrimp and sausage. My dog. My ex-husband loved sugar and everything. Like it was crazy. Go get it. I do a little bit of sugar in my spaghetti sauce as well. Okay, we've been chatting about Gypsy for a minute. Let's get started on this book. If you're new, Cambria, I think she was abusing her mom. Like, I think she was beating her mom. Like, punching her, beating. Somebody said to add, what did they, baking soda, a little bit of baking soda. Maybe they said, I don't know. I'll have to look it up. It was in a video. They said add that and it would take the acidity out of it. I'm almost 100% positive that Gypsy was the aggressor in that relationship with her mom, and that she was incredibly jealous of her mom for many reasons that I will probably never know. But there was something that Gypsy did not like about her mom. And I think that she was very resentful of her in a lot of ways. And that is ultimately the reason why she decided to unalive her. I think that she was resentful that her mother um probably like, you know how when people are handicapped, like they don't have an arm or they don't have a leg, that people hold on, let me find my dog's ball because he's searching, he can't find it. You might be able to still hear me, but you know when people have handicaps, they they try not to make their life about the handicap, but there are some people who do. Some people who live their entire life with this handicap being like the primary thing about them, and because of their handicap, the people around them are like, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that, no, you can't do that because of this and this. So I think that her mom was trying to somewhat I think that her mom was somewhat trying to kind of keep things realistic because of her illnesses, in telling Gypsy, no, I don't think you're going to be able to do that, honey. I don't think you're going to be able to have children because, you have this chromosome disorder and it could really affect, a baby. I don't think that you're going to be able to have, a husband because your chromosome disorder and your moods are unstable and nobody's going to really want to be with somebody like that. Like, I think she was trying to be practical with Gypsy, but Gypsy probably viewed that as her trying to, I guess, deny her the ability to have those things, when I think that her mom was probably just being realistic about her limitations because of her chromosome deletion. And I think that Gypsy began to grow resentful of her mother for thinking that she was never going to be able to have these things. And therefore, she started to abuse her because she's like, I'll show you, middle finger to you. I'm going to prove to you that I can do this, that, and the other, regardless of what you say. I'm going to do it anyway, not realizing her health limitations are real, they're not fictitious, and that her health limitations can affect every other aspect of her actual life. That's what I thought too. So Natalie says matricide killers are primarily aggressive by nature with a deep rooted need for self affirmation. And we already know this about Gypsy. Gypsy, like, she desperately needs affirmation and attention. And I think that she craves it more from men than she does from the female perspective. Whoops, hold on. Yeah, I think you're right about that too, Beatnik. Beatnik wrote, I think Gypsy doesn't like anyone that can feel things that she can't feel, like love. So when you live a life full of limitations because of your health issues, there's a part of you that wants to prove that person who is trying to keep you realistic about your limitations. There's a part of you that wants to prove that person wrong. And I think that that's what this whole thing is about. It's about Gypsy wanting to prove her mom wrong, that she can have a baby, that she can get married, that she can find love. Because what kind of mother is going to look at their daughter and be like, you're never going to be happy, you're never going to find love? I don't think that that's what Dee Dee was actually saying to Gypsy. I don't think that that's what she was telling her, but I think that that's what Gypsy was hearing. You know what I'm saying? Because I can tell you something, you're going to hear something different. if that's what you want to, like, if you already have issues with your self-esteem and your self-worth, you're not going to hear what it is that I'm telling you. And I think that that's part of her problem. Hey, convict. It's been a while since I've seen you. Oh my God. I think she's going to eventually show the baby, yes, because she knows that showing the baby is going to be the only way that she is going to be able to continue to make money on social media. The thing about Gypsy showing the baby on social media is that it's going to create problems between her and Ken, because she's already told Ken that she's not going to put the baby on social media. Ken has already said or made statements that if Gypsy does put the baby on social media, that, he's going to step in and they're going to, take whatever steps necessary, if they start to see that she is exploiting this child for a profit. And I think that she is scared that they are, in fact, going to keep their word. And I think that she is going to try to push the boundaries as much as humanly possible, because that's what Gypsy does. Gypsy pushes boundaries to see what she can get away with and what she can't. And the further that she pushes those boundaries, they they may or they may not do anything. It's going to be interesting to see, but I do think that she is going to eventually put the baby on social media. Right, convict. She has zero personality. None. Hold on, let me see what the I think the mom called her. Mhm. I think that her mom was I think that she was the realistic person in Gypsy's life, and she didn't allow Gypsy to have this fairy tale life, thinking, because life is real. Not everything is a fairy tale. Not everything is going to be like you see in the movies. And I think that that's what her mother was trying to tell her. I don't think that her mother was trying to prevent her from having things. I think that she was trying to keep her realistic. Oh yeah, the baby is definitely going to be her new line of defense. And see, that's really hurtful too, just me. If your mother is telling you that nobody's going to love you because your dad couldn't, um it's quite possible that your mother didn't allow your dad to be there to love you, and that she pushed him away because she was resentful of getting pregnant. A lot of women are resentful when they get pregnant because back then there wasn't a lot of options. So if you got pregnant, you're definitely having the baby, and it's definitely going to affect your life in more ways than you want it to. And instead of giving the child up for adoption, which is it's an option, mothers kept the baby and were resentful of those babies and treated those babies like shit, and then manipulated the men because they were upset that the men didn't stay. And it's like, you don't even want this kid, so why do you think I want this kid, kind of thing. But they're mad at the guy for leaving, even though they didn't want the kid to begin with either. So it's a real situation. And we all know that Ken did not want this. Ken did not want this to happen. He did not want to end up pregnant right away. I mean, they literally, according to the timeline, they had sex that very first weekend and got pregnant, basically, unless she was already pregnant by Ryan before. Hold on, let me look at some of these comments. Oh, thank you for the gift. So, Beatnik, I think the reason why she named the baby after Raina is to get on Raina's good graces because Raina has spoken out a couple of times saying that she's watched the documentaries and she's educated herself on Gypsy's past. I do know that there was a post where um, uh, Raina or somebody posted about the baby's birth and Raina commented like um keep your name off of my granddaughter's birth post or whatever. I don't necessarily think that she was trying to defend Gypsy. I think that Raina understands that there is a very thin line with a woman like that and having access to that child. You know what I'm saying? With narcissists, they hold that child over everyone's head as a tool to get people to do what they want them to do. It's a way for people to submit to what they want. And that's exactly what Raina knows because she's been around the block for a while. Like, she's not stupid. She knows that if she doesn't play her cards right, she's not going to be able to have anything to do with that child. And I think that Gypsy also knows that Raina is suspicious of her. And that's the reason why she decided to give her the middle name as it was a way to appease her, to say like, here, I'm doing this for you so that you'll be nice to me and be on my side. And so far it's worked, but we don't know how long that's going to stay the case. And the narcissist usually does cut everyone off in the family. And Natalie, but anyone in the family can ask for a record. Ken's mom can ask for the record. Gypsy's dad can ask for the birth record. Anyone on the Petrie side of the family can ask for the birth record. Like, it's just because it's only family doesn't mean that nobody is going to have access. Anybody in the family can ask for a record, and they can also hire an attorney to get access to the record. So it's not like it's hidden from everyone. I think that if Ken is smart, and I'm sure that his mother is in his ear and telling him that he needs to get his own birth DNA test, because I would not trust anything that Gypsy says. However, it's not about trusting what Gypsy says. It's about making sure that the child that you are going to provide for is actually yours. And regardless if Gypsy did a test or not, I would still want to have one of my own from my own source, just for what's that just for like a second opinion type of situation. You know how they say, don't trust the first doctor that you see, always get a second opinion. Don't trust the first attorney that you go to, always get a second opinion. Don't trust one DNA test, always get a second opinion. Always. So I think that if Ken is smart, and I'm hoping that his mom is, pushing him to do a DNA test, that he will actually do it. And I think that Ryan should too. Because Gypsy is a liar and a manipulator and has been trained all her life on how to manipulate people and is very, very good at it. And yeah, if they don't take matters into their own hands, Ken could potentially be raising a child that's not his for 18 plus years. And if Ryan doesn't take action, Ken could be raising his baby for 18 plus years. So I think it's in both of their best interests to seek a paternity test that is done from an outside source, not Gypsy. Yeah, I did one of those at home DNA tests with my grandson and my son. And basically, you just swab it in your mouth, you send it off. Um, and it came back that my son was like 99.999% positive that he was the dad. But yeah, we did want to make sure that he was going to be taking care of a kid that was his. Like, I wasn't trying to be mean. It wasn't that I didn't believe the girl, but I told my son, like, when you're the mom, you know it's your baby, but when you're the dad, you don't know until you take a DNA test. And the way that Ken was looking at the baby in the hospital, he was looking at the baby like, wait a second, let me see if this child even looks like it's mine at all, you know? Halo, you make an excellent point. Let me read her comment. She wrote, at some point, I think Gypsy decided she wanted to continue the grift solo, maybe take her mother's money in the safe, inherit the house, see men. She thought she would be seen as a victim also. I think that Gypsy wanted to eliminate her mom from the situation. I think that Gypsy is very money hungry, and I think that what happened, in addition to the whole I'll show you that, I'm going to be able to get married, I'm going to be able to have a kid, that kind of thing. I think that she was also very resentful that her mother withheld this money from her and put it in a safe, when Gypsy felt like the reason why her mother was getting this money was because of Gypsy, and Gypsy probably felt like it's my money because you wouldn't even have this money if it wasn't for me, which is why she kept stealing the money from her mom, because she felt entitled to that money. And every time she got caught stealing, she got her mother ended up taking that money back from her. And I think that a lot of the motivation was, you've got all this money and it's all because of me, so I should be entitled to all of it, and you're keeping that money away from me. I don't think Ken's going to stay long term either. No, there was no warmth in that picture. There was no love in that picture. It was really all I mean, the way that Ken was looking at the baby, he was looking at the baby like, does this baby look like me? I don't know if Ryan is MIA because of the contract with Lifetime, or if he's just going through some emotional shit. The Petries can too get a copy of the birth certificate. Biological mother, biological father, biological grandmother, and grandfather. So, and great grandfather, like their family, that family can get access to that birth certificate if they wanted it. I don't know if they're co-parenting or not. I have no idea. I have no clue if Gypsy and Ken are together or if they're not. It's hard to know if that's true and accurate because there is so much going on, and I think that because they have all these little cliffhangers, they're hoping that people are going to watch the show. Ken did look really uncomfortable. She did think that she wasn't ever gonna see the inside of a prison, right? She did. And even after seeing the inside of a prison, she still doesn't think that she was ever supposed to be there. Thank you, Marcy, from you too. Raina has only met Gypsy one time, and that was when Raina went to see Gypsy in Chillicothe. That was the only time. I think it was either Christy or Mia or Rod, because somebody said that they saw Mia and Christy going to the hospital the next day. I don't think Amelia, I don't think that it, that Ken is the reason why Ken's not working. I think Gypsy is the reason why Ken isn't working, because I think that Gypsy is so insecure about him having a job that she has basically kept him isolated from everyone so that she has primary control over him, who he sees, who he talks to, what he does, and all of those things. Hey, Blanche. So I think that Ken would actually like to have a job, but Gypsy is controlling him and not allowing him to work. Hey, true crime. I don't necessarily think that Gypsy even liked Nick to begin with. I think that she is smothering him. That's why he's over it. She's not giving him any space. I think that he understands who he's dealing with now. And back to Nick, I don't think that Gypsy ever liked Nick. I think that she did what she had to do in order to get what it was that she wanted. And then she threw him under the bus because she was done with him. Gypsy does not have the capability to really like or love anyone because she doesn't have the ability to emotionally connect with anyone. It's all about what can you do for me? Oh yeah, I remember that. And then the last time Karma, the last time his car got broken into or something. Well, he's aged because when you're in a relationship with a narcissist like Gypsy, you are so emotionally drained by the narcissist because they are constantly, and I mean constantly, um what how can I describe this? You're constantly being in emotional turmoil with a narcissist, and it drains you physically, emotionally, mentally, and you look like a different person because you are a different person because you are experiencing trauma in real time and it's affecting everything about you. Listen, if we didn't know Gypsy for the manipulative, narcissistic, pathological liar that she was, imagine meeting her and spending an hour with her. Of course, she's going to seem like the sweetest person in the world when you're only spending an hour with her. It's not until you actually are with the person and spending actual real time with them do you know who they are. I can be anybody that you want me to be for an hour, for 2 hours, for even maybe 3 hours. I can be anybody that you want me to be. I can be the perfect person for you if that's what I wanted to do. And that's what Gypsy does. Gypsy plays roles for as long as she needs to, and then after time, she isn't able to keep up that role anymore and her mirror starts to fall. I think the only reason why Ken has lasted this long is because Gypsy was pregnant. I don't think that he ever had intentions on staying with her this long, but she ended up getting pregnant. And he wanted to see it through, obviously, to make sure that this child was his. Yeah, and there's probably other things too. Like I'm sure he's drinking and using drugs and she's funding those bad habits, and gambling and she's funding those bad habits. She definitely trapped him and he allowed it. He allowed her to do it. Like why the fuck would you not use a condom when you know this bitch is trying to get pregnant? Yes, Renee, when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you are constantly walking on eggshells. You begin to pay attention to, how the front door shuts and their steps when they're walking because you want to know, like, are they angry? Are they upset? Are they having a bad day? Because if they're having a bad day, they're going to take it out on you. I'm going to be right back. I need to go grab a snack. Oh. Oh yeah, that's my dog. He got his hair done today. It's not living, but when you are in a trauma bond and there's a child involved, sometimes the easiest thing to do is to stay until you have a plan to actually get out safely. And another thing too is I also think that Raina is putting on a public display of support because she does not want to um she doesn't want there to be any clue that she's helping Ken with a lawyer or anything of that sort. I don't think that they want Gypsy to know if they are, going to try to sue her for full custody or whatever. So I think that they're being very careful so that everything appears good on the outside so that nobody knows what they're doing behind the scenes. Because when you're dealing with narcissists, you have to be you have to be very strategic about what you do because narcissists are always one step ahead of you, especially if you tell them your moves. So you never want to let them know what your next move is going to be. If Ken is the father, he has the right to sue for full custody. He does. So I think that they're playing their cards quietly because they don't want to let anybody know like what their plans are. I felt like it was Ryan's because both of my kids were born in December. Both of them. And we conceived um end of February, beginning of March. Literally, my son's birthday is Christmas Day, And my daughter's birthday is the 14th. And you also have to consider that they're probably also afraid that she might do something to hurt that child if she knows that they're going to try to sue for full custody or partial custody or ask for a paternity test or whatever. I mean, we don't know how we know, like, on the outside looking in, we know what kind of a person Gypsy is, but imagine being in a relationship with her and the amount of trauma that you have to go through every single day with a person like that. And imagine the fear that they have that she could possibly hurt that baby. So they're literally walking on eggshells, trying to make sure that they don't do anything to set her off, to let her know that what their plans are, because they could be afraid that she would do something to the child. Oh, good question. Genocide, they are definitely concerned. They're not dumb. I think that, of course, everyone wants to believe that she could never do anything to hurt that child. But the fact of the matter is, hey, Ariel, the fact of the matter is that Gypsy unalived her own mother. She would definitely hurt a child. And has before. She's hurt children. From what I hear, she's pulled little girls' hair. What was that other kid that she spit at the at the Disney World or whatever? Like, she's hurt kids before. And as far as Ken's sisters go, Ken's sisters are not stupid. They never liked Gypsy, remember? They did not like her. They did not want Ken to be in a relationship with her. And then she got out, and obviously she blew up on social media. And so there's a little of like that social media fame or whatever. And that can be alluring for a time. But the allure of social media fame only lasts for so long. And then you have to actually come to the reality that this person unalived their mother. So there has to be some sort of thoughts in the back of their mind that she's capable of harming not only Ken, but capable of harming the baby too. Because I think at first they were just concerned about Ken being hurt, but now it's Ken and the baby. I would be scared if I was Raina. I would be scared, but I would also be strategic because she wants him to get out of this relationship alive. I mean, let's keep it real. She wants her son to live. And I don't care what Gypsy says that she's not capable of murder. She absolutely is capable of murder. And was, because she did it. So if you are able to do it one time, you are absolutely able to do it a second time. If she read it, Natalie, if she read the book. I don't think that I th- I think that at first it was probably alluring for the money and working for Lifetime and that sort of thing. But there are some people who literally like cannot sit at home and not do anything. They feel useless, they get depressed. And I think that that's Ken. I think that Ken likes being out and working and actually having interaction with other humans. Like, it's imagine sitting at home with Gypsy all day long. Like, I'd fucking go insane, especially because all she does is talk about herself. So, yeah, he's probably overwhelmingly depressed because she's not allowing him to do anything. And she's not allowing him to work. She's not allowing him to do anything. I think that he was probably definitely interested in hanging out with Gypsy and the fame and the money that comes along with it. But that probably wore off after month two. And then her getting pregnant and then signing another contract and all that. Like, there are some people, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Lice. Th- there's some people that literally need to get up, get out of the house, and go do stuff. And Ken seems like he's one of those type of people because of the job that he has. He's a bartender, which means that he enjoys that one-on-one communication with the patrons. He enjoys being able to communicate with other people. He likes the fast-paced environment. And going from that to sitting at home all day long, trying to take care of a human adult child, like, that's a lot of stress on a man. Oh, good. That's a lot of stress on a man. And then to be pregnant on top of all that, yeah, watching her go from one mood to the next, like never knowing what you're going to say to set her off or what you're going to do to set her off, like it's a lot. Yes, that is a perfect way to put it, Bushwick. That he came for the experience and not that he planned on staying for the job. And now he's stuck. Not necessarily stuck, but stuck to where he's got to actually come up with a plan to get out of this stuckness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you can tell by the way he looks at her. He does not like her. He doesn't like her. He doesn't want to be around her. He thinks that she's annoying. You can tell. It's all over his face, his facial expressions, all over the way that he talks to her, like in the lives when he talks to her. He's incredibly rude. Oh yeah. Well, I wouldn't say that his life is ruined, Beatnik, because it's a possibility that he could get away from Gypsy and have this baby 100% of the time. And Gypsy only get like visitation every other weekend, and then he's more in control. But if Gypsy is in control of this child, he's going to definitely suffer. Exactly, Marcy. It's a stress on anyone that's close to her. I think that I think that Ken really needs to play his cards right to make sure that he does what he needs to do in order to get out of this relationship in the safest way possible, because his safety is at risk for sure. And what's even more interesting is that after a while, if he ends up dating anybody else that he dates, anyone else that he dates is going to have safety concerns when it comes to Gypsy, because she's going to make it really hard for any other woman to be in his life after this. Yeah, I could never. Marcy, I agree. I think that he has definitely experienced all types of abuse being with Gypsy. I think that Ken has definitely opened up everyone's eyes, like in those lives, in that Vile Files interview. Like, you could tell that they were having issues already. I think that he's going to have to do the paternity test behind her back. He's not going to be able to be like, hey, I want to get a test of my own. No, he's going to have to do it behind her back. He's going to have to take the baby for a weekend, whatever, and go get the test done when she knows nothing about it. Because if she knows that he's going to get another test done and that he does not believe her, that's going to create problems in and of itself. They usually do genocide if she is breastfeeding, which I don't know if she is. She's probably not, because she's too fucking selfish. But if she is breastfeeding, they usually have a lactation consultant come to the house like 2 or 3 weeks after you give birth to help make sure that the baby's latching, or to see if you need any help with anything. Amelia, I don't think that Gypsy was strategic in getting the DNA test. I think that she got the DNA test because she thought that it was going to appease everyone and make everyone believe that Ken was the father. That's what we did. We got my grandson over here for a weekend or whatever, and I did the test like that. Like, it's not that difficult to do. You just have to make sure that nobody knows that, like, she can't know that he's doing it. Otherwise, she's going to make him feel like shit for doing it. She'll make him feel like, oh, I can't believe you didn't believe me, or you doubted me, blah, 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 blah. Like, it'll be some sort of an emotional abusive tactic about why he doesn't trust her and this, that, and the other, like everything else she does. Exactly, Kathleen. You can buy whatever you want when you have the money. and you can get the results that you want when you have the money. Renee, I don't know. It still may be court ordered for her and Ryan to get a test done. I did think that it was interesting that there was nothing about the pregnancy in the divorce, but that could be because the baby wasn't born yet. And it's possible that she still has to appease the court now that the baby is born with a paternity test. So I guess we're gonna see. Because I find it not really plausible that the courts wouldn't want one of their own, that they would just take this over the counter type of DNA test as conclusive. You know what I mean? Because those tests can be fabricated in different ways. I definitely think that it could be Ryan's. That's what I thought too. I thought that the baby should have been mentioned, but it's possible that the baby wasn't mentioned because the baby wasn't born yet. But I think that um all of these things are storylines for the stupid show, and they're probably trying to get everybody hooked so that everyone will watch the stupid show. That's my guess. Is that they want people to watch. All right, you guys, I gotta go. I need to shower. We did not get to read this book at all. I have to make it a point when we come tomorrow to just start with the friggin' book. She did look tired. I don't want to say that she looked like she had just had a baby. I will agree that she looked really tired and very lethargic, very pale. But I remember what I looked like my 9 month of pregnancy too. I was also very tired, very heavy. Oh, that's right, Marcy. I don't know that she'll be able to apply for Medicaid though, considering the amount of money that she makes. So that might have to be done with her own private health insurance. Ariel, I'm pretty sure she had that baby. I know, back to work tomorrow. Did you have a good Christmas vacation? Yes, Marcy, I'll read first and then we'll talk after. Because once we get to talking, it's like nonstop. Gypsy, I don't know that Ryan's insurance would have covered her since they were separated. I mean, I don't know how that works, but I don't think that his insurance would have covered her if they're not together anymore. Maybe somebody else knows. Oh, you're at work, Jody. What do you do? I think that she'll end up having to have I don't even know if insurance pays for DNA tests. I think that that's something that you have to pay for on your own. I used to do that too. I used to be a caregiver when I lived in Texas with my grandmother. I was my grandmother's caregiver, and then when I moved back here, I was a caregiver for like a year, an in-home caregiver. It was a lot. It was a lot. I like taking care of people, but I like the dogs better. Oh, well, at least you had 2 weeks off. That's amazing. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. So the insurance will cover until the divorce. Okay. Well, they were divorced in December before she had the baby. So everything from after the divorce, he wouldn't be covered, or she wouldn't be covered, because that means that the labor and delivery wasn't covered. I don't know if I would have allowed her to stay on my insurance. Like, oh, border terriers are so cute. I seriously don't know if I would have wanted her to be on my insurance. Like, we're going through a separation and you've cheated on me. Like, I would have fucking cut her off and made her get her own damn insurance. But it was only community property. Was it the actual divorce? Oh, Brian gets half of everything too. He deserves it for what he put up with. I own my own dog grooming business, Lourdes. That's my dog right there. In Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't even think Ken likes her as a person. Oh, that's so cool. Canine Mama 7. I was thinking of opening up another salon or whatever after I finish paying off my grooming van. I don't know if she went back to her maiden name or not. You haven't missed anything, Buffy. We've just been chatting. I'm actually about to get off in a minute if you want to watch the replay. Yeah, I'm in Charlotte. Really? People here don't really want to work either. I really want to be able to teach my kids how to do it, but neither one of them are very interested in learning how to groom dogs. So we've just been chatting about Gypsy. There's been a lot of conversation going on. It's been a good conversation about the baby and about Gypsy's attitude, and my kids are 19 and 17. It is a good job. It's very financially lucrative. It is very stressful though, especially when you have. Thank you for coming, Natalie. It is very stressful, especially when you have to deal with different dog behaviors and attitudes. You really need to understand dog behavior and like how to tell when a dog is going to become aggressive and all of those things. And because I have a mobile, it's only one dog in my mobile at a time. But when you own a salon, some people take in multiple dogs at a time, which can be dangerous because that can cause like dog fights and that sort of stuff. So then you need to know how to break up a dog fight. Yeah. I've been bitten several times. Yeah. Several times. Not in a while though. It's been a while since I've been bitten because I don't really accept dogs anymore that bite. Once I opened my own business, I was able to kind of make my own rules and decide what kind of dogs I wanted to do and what kind of dogs I didn't want to do. So I quit taking dogs that were not, I don't want to say aggressive because it's not really aggressive. I quit taking dogs that were reactive and unpredictable. I love all dogs. I love all dogs, especially the ones that behave. Top Performance Grooming, cool name. Every dog bite that I've had has been relatively minor, nothing serious, never any stitches, never had to get a rabies shot or anything like that from anything. So they haven't been terrible, which has been nice. But I have seen some dog bites that are really bad. Hey, Flynn, I'm getting ready to get off because I got to get in the shower. Oh, the dog that dances. I've been grooming her for 5 years now. Hey, Millie from Denmark. Yeah, I've been grooming her for 5 years, and she's always done that little cute dance. It's so cute, isn't it? You had to have a rabies shot. I've never had to have one. All of my bites have been superficial. I did have one on the thumb that was kind of bad, but it wasn't terrible. If you want to watch the replay, Flynn, you can go to my YouTube and it'll be uploaded on my YouTube if you want to watch it. We had a really good conversation. The comments were really good. The chat was really nice. So I think you'll enjoy the replay if you want to watch it. All right, let me get out of here. We talked about Gypsy mainly. I was going to do the book, but we started talking about Gypsy first, so I didn't get to the book. But what I will do tomorrow is we'll start with the book, and then after we get done with the book, we'll have a little bit of a chat after. And I did, if anybody is coming on new, I did go ahead and buy that Sherry Frankie book. So when it comes out on the 7th, I've pre-ordered it. So I'll be getting it like in the mail the next day. And once we get done with the book that we're reading now, we'll start on the Sherry Frankie book. Okay. So I'm excited. We've got two books already lined up. The one I'm doing now and Sherry Frankie. And then I think after that we were all talking about wanting to do Jeanette McCurdy's book, but if you find something else that's like trauma based, narcissistic based, we can, do a poll. All right, good night you guys. Love you.